And thank you all for joining PCR and the SBDC today. Hope you were enjoying that music as we are talking about action brand secrets. I wanted it to be a little action-oriented music on here this morning. Oftentimes we're kind of trying to soothe you through your afternoon, but today we want you to, well, every day we want you to take action. And so thank you all for joining us today. And we're going to let me pull everything up here. So for those that might be new to PCR and the SBDC, we welcome you. And you all know we are here to help businesses to start and grow and to succeed. There are 1,000 centers around the country here to help small businesses to stimulate economic growth and to provide services that can help you with your funding, your business planning, management, legal, marketing. All of this is at no cost and no catch to you except for your good taxpayer dollars, which we are using well and effectively. For PCR and the SBDC, we have some specialties that we focus on and advisors that have special experiences. And one is legal. So if you need to have a document reviewed, a basic contract or agreement that you need some help with, we can assist you with that. Business planning. How can we help with the business plan? If you are urgent and need help and you're ready to go all in, looking for funding, certification, or things like that, we also have live plan seats that might be able to help you advance that fairly quickly. Marketing with AI, social media, procurement, anybody getting ready for the LA Olympics or the road to the Olympics, please see us so that you can get started because now is the time. It's 2.5 years away, but now is the time to start your planning and understand what your role might be if that's of interest, or if it's other procurement, we can assist you. Financial, how to get your package, your loan packages ready, and how to speak with a banker. We have lots of events with bankers. Also accounting, we have a specialist that helps with bookkeeping and QuickBooks. If your books are not together, get them together. We know we can help you, and we've got a whole bunch of financial workshops, balance sheet, financial statements, profit projections, cash flow, to help you understand your business and to help you to make better business decisions based on your numbers. So here to help in that area. In restaurant and hospitality, we have 2 restaurant specialists. If you're looking to buy a food truck, do not buy it without getting help. We have seen too many folks buying food trucks and then having to put in significant amount of money to bring them up to code for LA County and LA City. So if you're doing something there, we can help you in brick and mortar, but also food truck carts or things as well. And also construction. So we have a specialist that is in construction and help you to get ready for that. So let's go ahead and get started. Today, we're going to be talking about marketing and action brand marketing at that. So please answer this quick poll for us. What's your main goal in marketing? What's your goal? Let's see where you guys working. Increasing revenue, okay, building community, building awareness, partnership opportunities. Let's see. Who else? Come on in. Thank you. Okay, I'm seeing so far a tie in increasing revenue and brand awareness. Let's hold this for 5 more seconds. Thank you all for coming in and adding to the poll. All right. And okay, one more just came in. And so we'll go ahead and end that and share the results. So 40% of you said increasing revenue. I like that because that's how your business can operate, is got to have revenue in. And then brand awareness, which ultimately can lead to revenue, building community, and partnership opportunities. So that's great. Thank you all for sharing your top marketing priorities. And our speaker can utilize that as well. And so I didn't introduce myself. Sorry about that. I'm Colette Moore. I'm the director here at PCR SBDC, former business owner and client here at PCR. I had a staffing franchise firm for 8 years, and understanding the highs and the lows of small business entrepreneurship And I'm so excited to be here now, actually, for 6 years with PCR, helping small businesses, providing programming and services that are going to help you to grow and to succeed. And I love seeing businesses when they light clicks on and you guys turn that lever and all of a sudden you are flying. So, and it's all about learning and applying, learning and applying. And today, though, we are so excited because we have Mark Imperial here with us with Action Brand Marketing. And he is the marketing guy. He's on a mission to end the war between branding and marketing. And he's seen too many businesses struggle to connect the dots. And Mark is unifying these things into a single system. He was trained by Dan Kennedy, a veteran of experiential marketing for brands like Nintendo, Pokemon, Under Armour, and we're excited. He was introduced to us by another SBDC, and he is a Chicago native. Chi-town, I'm from Chicago also. It's been a while. And he's also a former DJ for Walter Payton. I'm sure he'll tell us a little bit more about that. And he has a dog named Shannon, or no, dog named Gordon Whitefoot. So I'm gonna go ahead and let's turn this over to Action Brand Marketing, the unified branding and direct response system. And let's see how you guys can all accelerate your profits, your partnerships, and your community interactions. And with that, I'm gonna turn it over to Mark.
Thank you, Colette. Thank you so much. And thank you for the grace of doing this again, because the last time, as we know, had to cancel because my flight got delayed and I didn't make it to the airport on time to do this presentation. So thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm going to start to share my slides here. Can you unshare so I could share mine? Let's see. And I love that people say that they're here to increase revenue, because at the end of the day, increasing revenue is essentially the byproduct of everything else you mentioned: brand awareness, partnerships, relationships. That the byproduct is increasing revenue. So really quickly, if you haven't grabbed the copy, I have a digital copy. Check 1 2 1 2. Am I muted? Okay. Whoop. Audio. Can you hear me okay? All right, right on. Yeah, so I've got a free copy, digital copy of my books for you right here on the QR code, or getmarksbooks.com. So make sure you grab a copy of that to get the digital version. And again, revenue is the byproduct of that branding awareness, increased awareness, partnerships, and everything, all of the above. So love that. So let's get right into it. This presentation is called Action Brand Secrets from Near Death to a Multi-Billion-Dollar Brand. It's a real case study on a business that you may or may not know. So who's this going to be for? It's going to be for new business owners, seasoned business owners, and also for marketing professionals who are passionate about staying ahead of the curve. Like me, a marketing nerd, if you will. I geek out on marketing and branding and all the stuff that moves the needle for businesses. So you're in the right place if that's you. So I want to start out by asking you to imagine something. Imagine that your brand is everywhere. Your name's instantly recognized and your inbox is overflowing with opportunities. Clients are reaching out to work with you. Media outlets are inviting you to share your story. And event organizers are even lining up to put you on their stage and asking you to speak. Your brand is not just a logo or a tagline. That's like a big misconception that a lot of people have when they instantly think of, I got to get my brand out there. It's your reputation, it's your aura, it's your magnet and your ticket to trust and freedom. Now, imagine what happens if you don't prioritize your marketing or your branding. I mean, it's kind of funny. I discovered that marketing was something that I needed to do because every time I started a new business or learned a new trade and I wanted to get out there and serve clients, the one thing I realized they didn't teach me in school was how to get a client. And it was like an afterthought. And it's not totally their fault. A lot of times institutions, they're assuming that they're teaching you your craft and how to do the thing that you do so that you can go work and be an employee. And they don't think that you're going to be self-employed or an entrepreneur. So that's okay. We're here to solve that once and for all. Now imagine if you put your marketing and your branding on the back burner and the calls don't come. The opportunities pass you by. Like, what would you be missing out on? So by the end of our time together here, You're going to see why taking the time to dial in your branding and marketing is going to be the best decision that you make for your business. And you're going to walk away knowing exactly how to get started. I'll give you a fast track blueprint for you. So here's what we're going to cover in 3 quick parts here. Part 1, why branding fails and how to escape that trap for good. And I'll give you that case study. In part 2, I'm going to show you the action brand solution. You're going to be able to grow your business into a powerhouse brand that everybody loves. I've unified once and for all marketing and branding and made it easy to understand for everyone because there's always been the 2 camps. Should I do branding? Should I do marketing? The answer is yes. You should do both simultaneously, and I'll show you how to do that. And in part 3, I'm going to give you your action plan. So you're going to walk away with the blueprint to become the go-to leader in your market. Really quickly, just a brief overview on where I came from so you know. I've had 25 years in experiential marketing and branding for some of the world's most famous brands, including Under Armour, Pokemon, Nintendo, M&M, Mars Candy and Food. They're all based here in Chicago, just to name a few. But on the other side of the coin, because that's the branding side, that's the big brand side. On the other side of the coin, I spent 17 years being certified in direct response by my mentor, you may or may not know, Dan Kennedy. And he's taught me my craft of direct response marketing, which is often long form copy, sales, letters, the kind of the ugly stuff that actually drives revenues and sales. The two never really meet because they're really kind of opposing things. There's image, and then there's revenue, cash flow, getting the money. And I'll show you how to do both. I wrote for Dan's No BS marketing letter for 3 years, reaching thousands of business owners. And uh, hey, the result, over 30 years of being in marketing and branding. I authored This is Action Brand Marketing and Books Grow Business, which I gave you the QR code to get copies of those. I also host radio here in Chicago, in the Chicagoland area. And on my journey in marketing, I got to share the stage with a lot of really cool folks and business celebrities along the way. And I also get to speak on great platforms to spread my message of branding and marketing. So, random quick facts about me that are kind of weird. I did work for the late, great Walter Payton. I was the head of his DJs for all of his nightclubs here in Chicagoland. I'm famous for house music. So if anything weird comes up when you Google me and you see House Nation Records, that was me. I had a Pioneer house label in the 80s. So I'm dating myself here, but that's what I'm known for there. I coach fighters at the UFC gym. And my favorite TV show is infomercials, just like any marketing nerd out there. So is it just me that has a veggie bullet? Am I the only one? Type it in the chat if you have a veggie bullet. Whenever I ask audiences, I'm shocked. They ran that commercial so darn much, and I love my veggie bullet to this day. But there are very few people that have the veggie bullet. But anyway, I've helped over 800 personal brands get launched, a lot of times using a book as their signature launch over the years. So I'll share with you my formula there. So I want to start out before we go into part 1. The expression I want everyone to understand is we don't build a brand to get a customer, but we get a customer to build a brand. That's how it works because absolutely nothing, a brand isn't built until somebody actually buys something and experiences your product or service. And then they get to add to the story of the experience, and then your brand and your reputation grow. When people don't understand this principle, oftentimes people say, hey, I need a brand, a logo, I need some colors, I need to get awareness out there so people come in and buy my product. So they're working on their brand thinking that's what they need to do to get a customer. But no, we're going to get a customer in order to build a brand. And this will become more clear as we go along. So part 1, why branding fails and how to escape the trap. So, starting with the case study, I want to share with you a brand that you may or may not know, the UFC, the Ultimate Fighting Championship. In the early years of the UFC, they fell into some branding traps of their own, and I'm sharing a big one with you here so that you can avoid it. Their first pay-per-view was in 1993. I actually purchased that. Me and my buddies bought it and even taped it on VHS tape back then. But I'll tell you what, it was a crazy kind of a promotion. The idea behind Ultimate Fighting, which I'll get into the story behind that, the whole story was, hey, which martial art is the best in the world? Which one can beat, is boxing better than judo or karate or whatever it may be? Let's put them all in the ring and let's find out once and for all. That was like the big conversation back in the 80s and 90s that we were having. But by 2001, the UFC was on the brink of bankruptcy. And if you look at it now, you're maybe wondering how the heck did that happen? And I'm going to share the story with you. It sold for a measly, relatively measly $2 million at the time. They were struggling. They couldn't get out of debt. Things were going downhill. I'll share the evolution with it, but it sold for only $2 million. They had no assets. Literally, they just had the letters UFC. Now, UFC became the fastest growing brand in sports in the mid 2000s. So something happened, a switch occurred during that. And how did they go from near failure to the massive success that it is today? And right now, it's valued at approximately $11 billion as they've merged with some other big companies, including WWE. So how did this all occur? And what was the marketing and branding trap that they fell into in the beginning? Let's get into that. So more to follow there. Before I can continue that story, let's talk about the source of the confusion and why people are like thinking, hey, how do I grow my business? Do I do branding? Do I do marketing? Well, a lot of times you didn't go to school for marketing or branding. You went to school or you did a trade or a craft to get good at your thing and what it is that you do. So when you think about, hey, let's do marketing, it's another career altogether. So if you go to Google and you type, what types of marketing are there? Take a look at this: social media marketing, influencer marketing, video, brand, inbound, direct marketing, personalized. There's so much. How do you know what you're going to do, where you're going to do? Should I do all of it? Should I do some of it? You have no idea. There's too much. And what makes it worse, you've got salespeople that, not to their fault, but they're trying to sell whatever it is that they're selling to you. There's people selling you video marketing. There's people selling you SEO, get on the front page of Google. There's people selling you advertising. But how do you know what's going to actually move the needle for your business and what's right for you? That's what we're going to clear up today. The definition of a brand, first of all, according to the American Marketing Association, a brand is any distinctive feature like a name, term, design, or symbol that identifies goods and services. Now, the definition of marketing, according to the American Marketing Association, marketing is the activity, set of institutions, and processes for creating, communicating, delivering, and exchanging offerings that have value for customers, clients, partners, and society at large. So let's talk about the 5 biggest branding and marketing traps. Number 1, we talked about a little bit, thinking branding is a logo and colors. That's not going to move the needle for you. Number 2, blindly copying ads. A lot of times people will, you may think you know branding and marketing because you've been exposed to television commercials, ads that you see in newspapers all the time. And a lot of times people unknowingly, they try to mimic those ads. If you remember, gosh, when Infinity, the car brand, came out, they were showing these commercials that didn't even show the car. They showed wheat fields blowing and they were trying to be real fancy and upscale. If you tried to imitate that ad today, it would do nothing for you because what people don't realize is they don't know what the success of the ad was. Lots of examples like that. The Taco Bell dog. If you remember those commercials, those are some of the most iconic commercials that we remember in the last couple of decades. But those were losing campaigns. If you ever Google it or look it up, they lost the most money during the Taco Bell dog ads. So many examples like that if you want to go copy things, you better look and see if something is actually successful before you copy. That's the problem. The biggest trap is a lot of people copy ads blindly. So we want you to avoid that. Number 3, copying a lead generation ad. Give you a quick example. Some people think, hey, you know what? If I copied this one ad that I saw that they're selling a book for $39, and it runs all the time, and that must be making them rich. So I should copy that ad. Or hey, I sell an acne cream, and I see that this acne cream on TV sells a tube for $19.99. And if I copy that, I'm going to get rich because that commercial's been running forever. It must make a ton of money. But what you don't know, behind the scenes is it's a lead generation ad. What that means is they're perhaps getting you to purchase one small item to create a customer from you, because on the back end of that thing, they have something else to sell you, either a continuity subscription model like the acne cream, for example, uh, or they've got something, that $39 book may sell a seminar or another program for thousands of dollars. So if you blindly copy a lead generation ad, you're not getting the full picture. And you might do it and lose all your money because you didn't realize that there's something on the back end you need to sell in order to make that ad profitable. So that's another huge trap that I see happen. Copying established brands. This is one of the biggest things we see, because what you're exposed to when you think of Nike is what? Just do it. So they created a tagline, just do it. They created the swoosh logo, and it makes people think just naturally, hey, if I create a swoosh logo and I create something that says, like, it's time for action, that's all I need to do and I'm going to be successful. But what people don't realize is those companies like Nike, they've spent billions of dollars over how many decades now to ingrain, to anchor their brand in your mind. So literally they can show up with the swoosh and you already know what it is. It's not the same if you're starting your company, nobody knows you yet. That's been established over years, and we're going to show you some examples of that as well. Number 5, bad messaging, biggest trap. Product or service focus. Too many people write ads. I used to critique fellow DJ ads when I was running a DJ coaching business for their DJ companies. A lot of times they would write their ads to say, hey, our sound systems have this many watts. We have this many songs in our song library. What they're doing is most of those ads are made to impress other DJs who are not their customer. You got to think, who's their customer? If it's for a wedding DJ, it's a bride. Does a bride care how many watts your sound system is? They're not. You got to think of the audience and your messaging, and not, instead of focusing your messaging on the product and service that you're selling, instead, focus on the outcome that that bride wants. What is it that your client or customer wants? And focus on the outcome and speak to that, as opposed to speaking to the thing you're selling or the product or good. Two types of marketing out there. This is what I shared in the beginning. There's two camps. There's the branding camp that does brand marketing. They're the colors and the logos and the image. Then there's direct response marketing, which is all about making the sale. Think about, as an example of that, think of mail order. Mail order catalogs are all about showing the product, the benefits of the product, and send me your credit card. That's direct response marketing. And there's a way to do them both very stylistically, and where you're going to be able to grow your brand, but at the same time make a sale. And that's what we're here to do. So here's the distinctions between the two types of marketing. Brand marketing is about building long-term brand awareness and loyalty, and direct response marketing is about eliciting immediate response, either for an immediate purchase or just capturing a lead, having somebody submit information to join your list. So there's two types of responses on that. And when you do this right, both things are going to occur, and they both have to be in place. Because if you just do brand marketing, nobody knows who you are yet if they don't yet know your product or service. So that's a long road. You're not going to make sales with that. But if you do just direct response marketing and ignore branding, what you're essentially losing out on is the stacking of your reputation over time. When you build a brand while you're making sales, it becomes a flywheel, and it accelerates your acceptance in the future as you grow your reputation and people get to know who you are. That's when you grow a community. And community based, we did that in the poll earlier, talking about building community. I was nodding yes, because this is all about community first marketing, being able to make sales and growing a brand and a reputation at the same time. So here's a brand marketing example. This is the Nike ad, of course, just do it. Now, the cons of this is it requires massive investment over time. As we talked about, they've spent millions and millions and billions of dollars to position the brand and anchor it in the mind and hearts of our consumers so we know who they are. And that's why they get the benefit of actually doing some weak marketing later because people already know. It's just triggering an anchor that's already in place. We can't afford to do that with our businesses. Now, here's an example of direct response marketing. And as I said, it could be super ugly, it could be super long form copy. But the pros of this are it brings in buyers and revenue first. And the cons can be ugly and cheesy, the exciting ant farm, or the ad on the right is a very classic direct response ad that sold a piano playing course. They laughed when I sat down at the piano, but when I started to play. Now, there's a lot of people that say, oh, who's going to read all that? Well, if you don't care about playing the piano, you're not going to read a single word. You're absolutely right. But if somebody did care about playing the piano, they would read every single word as long as it wasn't boring. I try to point that out because there's people that'll think, hey, I want to keep my ad short. Nobody's going to read it. You want to write for the buyers and not for the non-buyers. Perfect example. If you were looking to get a certain car, an Alfa Romeo, and say you went into the dealership and wanted to get information on the Alfa Romeo car, if they sent you out with a little postcard with barely any words on it, you would be disappointed. Instead, if they sent you out with a stack of brochures with the photos and images and all the details on it and all the benefits of the features of the car, you would be more thrilled. And it's because you're writing for the buyers and not for the non-buyers. Who did this back in the day? 13 records or tapes for $1, or any 7 records or tapes for a penny. Remember those ads, these record clubs? This is another huge example. Um, Obviously, you don't copy that if you think you're making money on that. They were selling you a subscription. But this is example of direct response marketing. Clear benefit, clear offer every time. No fancy, notice that there's no fancy logo or telling you who they are. It's just the absolute benefit of what you're going to get from responding to this ad. So, the big question, which do you do first, branding or marketing? And the answer is there's a way to do both, and it's called action brand. And I'll share with you what that means. You're going to prioritize marketing to get a customer. Then the customer builds your brand. And essentially, your brand gets to ride along for free to accelerate future trust. So, going back to the UFC, of all the 5 things, the traps that we talked about, which trap do you think plagued the UFC at the time? Let's take a look. Bad messaging. Here's why. When they started with that message appeal of which martial arts is the best. Okay. There are no rules. That was their message. These were the sound bites that they put out there. It became a freak show. There were no weight classes. They literally put anybody that wanted to fight in the cage. You'll see there were some absolute atrocious matchups in this in the promotion at the time. So how did they fix it? By the way, spectacles can get attention for a brief moment. It could get attention for a brief time, but after a while, people get kind of tired of the freak show. It starts to get ignored. Not only that, they started to trigger all the politicians around the country to ban the UFC in their states. So they were running out of places they could even have the events. That was the huge trouble they got into. And when Art Davies and the other co-founders decided to sell it, it's because they were like at the end of the rope and they had no idea what to do. So how did they fix it? This is what they did. Dana White and the Fertitta brothers out of Vegas, they bought the UFC for a paltry $2 million at the time, and all they got really were the letters UFC from it. They started to do this. They established rules and actually a timer. At the time, they locked you in a cage in the very beginning. There were no rules. There was no time limit. People just gassed out, and sometimes the events were uneventful, the fights. Now they established rules and a timer. They made weight classes so it didn't look so ridiculous with the matchups. Then the biggest thing they did was the Ultimate Fighter reality TV show. They doubled down. The last like $8 million they had in the bank, they just doubled down and said, we're gonna die on our sword if this doesn't work. They funded their own reality show. And what did they do in the reality show? They glorified the athletes, just like you would see in boxing today, when you would know the families of the fighters, what their goals and aspirations and dreams are. You started to get into the story. It turned the spectacle, and now it's a story about the athletes. They emphasized the sport of it. So basically, it's a one word appeal fix that they did there. And this is all about fixing bad messaging. And the one word appeal is they turned the spectacle into a sport. So always think into your business. What is it that you're about? What's the one word that you can own? Just like if you think of big brands, is it Volvo that's known for safety, for example? What's the word? FedEx is known for overnight. What's the one word that you're going to be known for, and what can you own? Think about that. And an action brand, I call that the DNA. What's the DNA of your brand? So the result of that message switch for the UFC in 2016, UFC sold for $4 billion. Today, it's worth about around $12 billion, and they merged with the WWE to form a $21 billion company with all their brands underneath it. Going right to part two, the action brand solution. Let's start to talk and unpack what this means and how to do this right and how to grow your business into a powerhouse brand that everybody loves. First, let's start with my DNA formula. DNA stands for distinctions of novel appeal. The distinction of novel appeal. What is your distinction? So if you were to create a list, just simply take a piece of paper out and talk about what are your distinctions in your business. What are you great at? What are you certified in? What is it that you do best for your clients? What are your distinctions? Then you make another list about, of all the things that you do to serve your clients and customers, what's novel about how you do it versus the competition? What's novel? How do you do it differently? Make that list. And then you take the third list I want you to make is what's appealing. What appeals to your audience the most? What do they really want to get? What's the transformation? What's the problem that you're solving for them? And what is most appealing to them? Growing revenues. What is it they really want? And somewhere along the intersection of all three of those, you're going to be able to determine what your strength is and how you do things differently for that audience and what's the most appealing to them to come up with the big idea of your personal brand. So what is that going to be about for your DNA? And then that's what you're going to be able to talk about. I'll give you one illustration. This is a client of mine, Jane McQuillan. She is a CPA by trade. Her business is a CPA practice. And she's also a CEPA, which stands for Certified Exit Planning Advisor. So she helps business owners maximize their value of their business before they're ready to sell. And what did she wanted to do? She specializes in her CPA practice for business owners. So what she wanted to do is she wanted to write a book in order to attract more clients. And she's the type that doesn't want the spotlight. She doesn't want to do podcasts or speak on stage or anything. She wanted the book to do all the heavy lifting for her. So we started to work on her personal brand. Her company's called Journey Consulting. And as I talked through all the things that she does for her clients, the thing that kept coming back over and over again is she says, I help them increase the value of this, value of that, value. So I said, Jane, this is going to be simple. You're now the creator of the value journey, and it's your way of how you do things for your clients and customers. So now when you look her up, she's known as the creator of the value journey. And she keeps Journey Consulting, but that is now her brand. She's become so well known for this. She has other exit planning advisors and other wealth advisors asking her to use her book to attract clients. So you see, not only is she handing out her book and getting clients from it, she has other professionals that use the book to attract business for themselves selfishly, but at the same time, they're positioning Jane as the thought leader and the go-to expert for maximizing the value of a business. So therefore, the value journey is her brand, and this is like now become the nucleus of her entire business. So now, Action brand. Let's put it all together. Here's my acronym. Action stands for acquiring customers, clients, or community through irresistible offers now. That's going to be easy for you to remember. It's acquiring customers, clients, or community through irresistible offers now. When you do marketing or advertising, there's always a call to action. So action, acquiring clients through irresistible offers now. There always has to be an irresistible offer. Perhaps you have a checklist they could download to achieve something that they want to achieve. What is it that you can create? I love information. That's some of the best lead magnets you can have. What's the offer you can place on all your ads so it differentiates you from the call us for a free consultation? Go further. Give that consultation a name. Give it an outcome. What are you actually doing? It's not just a vague consultation, but what's the outcome of that consultation going to be? So that's the action part. That's why it's intentionally first before branding. That's where you're going to acquire the customers, clients, and community through irresistible offers now. Now, where does the brand come in? It comes in second because it takes a back seat to getting that customer to help build your brand. But brand stands for broad recognition of affinity and novel distinction. And this is where your DNA comes in. This is where you essentially try to figure out what you want to be known for. That becomes your brand. It takes a back seat. We're getting the customer client first, introducing them to our methodologies, but the brand, we want to get them to know what you stand for. And that rides secondary to getting that client or customer. Here's the 3 immutable laws of action brand marketing. Number 1, clarity over cleverness. I want you to be clear with your messages. What problems do you solve for your audience? And you're going to send direct response offers to new audiences to grab attention, to collect leads, and to gain buyers in order to snowball your cash flow. Maybe the first offer is just to join your community. Maybe your first offer is to download a checklist that's going to help them achieve a task. When you deliver that promise, you can make an offer for something paid that's going to help them achieve that task faster, perhaps, or with your help. So you're moving them up the ladder. So clarity over cleverness with all of your messages. Here's an example of that, clarity over cleverness. Here's the illustration. Remember on the right, the just do it, and I told you that they can just do that all day long now, and everybody already knows what it is. They didn't start there. Take a look on the left. That was an early ad for Nike where they actually started to explain what their brand is about with verbal communication, verbal marketing. There is no finish line. What does that mean? They go on to say it's kind of like the brand manifesto. So you'll see that they're explaining what it is while they're building that brand and really anchoring the fact that Nike is all about athletes and winning. So now, again, don't just blindly copy established brands. Know what they did. Find the history of what they did to get to where they are today. Here's another one. You all know McDonald's, Hamburger University, right in our backyard over here. Early ad. Take a look at that. Those hamburgers at McDonald's. You don't see that anymore. Now it's just like, I'm loving it, But back then they actually said to make it more so, order a McDonald's cheeseburger, both made with pure fresh beef and served on toasty buns. Look for the golden arches. You see how in the beginning they were a lot more descriptive about what they were about and how they did it. But that's why you don't blindly copy until you see the history of their ads, because now they can be super lazy and they could say, I'm loving it, and somehow you want a Big Mac. But by the way, that's a branding faux pas too, because you're not supposed to tell the world how they should feel. And they did it with the I'm loving it. Somehow it works. It broke a lot of the branding rules from the agency side, but I'm loving it. But see, so that's what I mean by clarity over cleverness. If you just launched your brand now and nobody knew who you were and put I'm loving it, how much attention would you get? Probably not much. So that's the difference there. Here's another example of clarity over cleverness. Take a look on the right. Sharing your second love with your first. Priceless. You see, these are what like credit card commercials sound like now. It's called that slice of life marketing, where they show you what life is like with that credit card. But before, when they first started, and very few people even knew what a credit card was, because believe it or not, I mean, this is actually more recent than you think. Look at the ad for that. I carry clout. Clout gives you acceptance. Clout is power. Clout opens doors. You see that? That's master charge. Relax. So they were a lot more clear before they got clever. So I want you to keep in mind that when you're thinking of your marketing messages. Now, rule number two, immutable law number two, brand takes a backseat to the headline. Already saw a bunch of examples of that. You're going to send branded messages and swag only after you gain a customer or a fan, because you want something that people could be proud of and share. And that's why there's swag and there's Nike this and Nike that. And, my bonus kids all have to have Nike shirts so they think they'll get bullied. Why is that? Okay. It's because they've anchored the logo in the mind of the consumer, saying, this is great. They want something to connect to and to belong to. And how do people want to identify? So brand takes a backseat to a headline. Here's an example of that. Again, another, it's safe. It's not really money until I decide to use it. Another headline for credit card ads, because nobody knew what a credit card was, believe it or not, back in the day. It's safe. It's not really money until I decide to use it. Huh, that sounds interesting. Bank AmeriCard. So you see how the ads to copy are the ones that are clear and not clever. So look at that history. Number three, immutable law number three, there will always be an offer. Any ad that you create, any social media, hey, get them to do something. What kind of action are you going to take? What's the point of this post, or what's the point of this ad? Make that offer, like this one for a free book. Number four, immutable law number four, you will optimize the flywheel. Now that you have an offer, you know the audience that you're serving, you're going to create a family of direct response offers and branded nurture assets to achieve maximum growth. So hey, in your business, you probably have one front door, but you have like different appeals. Maybe people are attracted to your product or service for different reasons. You can certainly test ads with those different appeals and the different reasons why people would be attracted. And you have to test these things, test the appeals to find out what worked most. A lot of people don't know, in the agency world, when they spend millions of dollars on ad campaigns, a lot of times there could be 300 variations of any one ad campaign. And literally only 10% of those will actually work. And it takes 300 ads to find out that right 10%. Now, for a smaller enterprise or Main Street business, we may not have the budget for running 300 ads, but just keep that in mind. If you keep trying things and maybe are frustrated by things, you just understand that not everything's going to work. We hope we're going to take educated, guesses and in creating campaigns that we think are going to go. But nothing happens until you launch and you find out by getting feedback. But you're going to create a family of ads and nurture assets so that you could achieve maximum growth in your business. Now, part three, your personalized action plan. Here's the blueprint to becoming the go-to leader in your market. So the principle I want you to understand here is every business should be a media company and every founder should be a creator. We're at a really great time to have a business, because remember, back in the day, you used to have a huge budget, because the only way you can advertise your business was either on television or radio, expensive advertising, or in print. That was the more accessible local marketing. And that stuff all works, but it was hugely expensive. Today, they claim that it's going to level the playing field because you have all this free media, like social media and things where you can post for free. There's pros and cons to it. Of course, it is free, but it's not really leveling the playing field because everybody else has access to the same tools. So it just gets more and more crowded. But the benefit that you have today, when I say every business should be a media company, because you have all the social media platforms and everywhere that you can post essentially nearly free, especially email. Or if you create a newsletter, whether it's a print newsletter or an email newsletter, that's some of the best ways to stay in touch with your community and your audience on a regular basis. But you should be a media company because back in the day, when things were expensive, you could only afford to maybe run one ad, every so often. But now you could literally be talking and sharing value literally every day if you wanted it to. Make it a minimum of once a week, sharing some value that is helpful for your audience and building a community for you. So that's why I say every business should be a media company. I have an expression that says people seek answers, not advertising. Back in the day, all we had was ads. But today, people are asking questions. They want answers to their questions. And that's why search engines are so great to find you, because if you're the ones providing the answers to the questions people are already asking, which is entering the conversations already going on in their mind, you're going to be positioned as the person that provided the answer. So that therein lies your opportunity. Every business should be a media company, and every founder should be a creator. No longer should we be nameless, faceless companies that have to create mascots like Progressive with Flow or the Geico Gecko. We don't need to do that because look at the brands that you really identify with. Look at Microsoft. Who was that? Bill Gates. Who was Apple? That was Steve Jobs. You see that? Who was Tesla? So you'll notice that there's always a founder attached to some of the most successful companies because at the end of the day, people connect and they anchor people to your businesses. So we don't have to be, faceless, nameless people in our businesses that have to create a mascot. You're a real person. So that's why I say every founder should be a creator and be comfortable with being the face of your business. People seek answers, not advertising, as I mentioned. Therefore, your opportunity to stand out is to consistently offer answers with content marketing. So here are your prime positioning portfolio assets. These are the actual tools that you're going to be able to use to spread your message once you get your DNA right and you get your sound bites right. Here's what you can use. In no particular order, we'll start with 7. Print media. Formerly a blog or a newsletter. As I mentioned, print is great if you, at minimum, do an email newsletter so you can keep in touch with your audience and your tribe at least weekly. 6, a podcast. If you're okay with being on the microphone, that's a great way to get to build an audience, a community around your subject matter, and even get other guests on there, referral partners that you can help each other and appear on each other's shows. Number 5, a YouTube channel. This is another free platform that's available to everybody and a great place to start in creating a community right around your content. Number 4, being a subject matter expert, guest. And this is guesting on other people's podcasts, guesting on radio, guesting on TV. By the way, another great tool is when you have, for example, your book, you could send this to all of your local media with just a simple cover letter that says, hey, if you ever need a subject matter expert on this topic, I'm your guy or gal. And that's all you need to do. Your book will be on the top of the pile because if you've ever noticed, they love authors as being subject matter experts on shows. Number 3, speaking. If you enjoy the spotlight, it's okay if you don't. A book can do all the heavy lifting. But if you enjoy the spotlight, there's nothing better than speaking on presentations like this one or on stages. That's my favorite way of sharing my message because you get to really meet people, engage, see what lights them up. Speaking. Number 2, live events. Anytime that you have an opportunity to bring your crowd together. One of the biggest things that moves the needle for my local clients, we have a gym here that I taught them community marketing. I said at minimum, once a year, you do a member appreciation event. You do it at your facility, maybe in the parking lot. You put inflatables all there, and you invite all of your members, and you invite them to bring their neighbors or their friends to enjoy this party that you are hosting for them. And that is always an amazing referral opportunity when they do this customer appreciation event. So live events are fantastic for bringing your tribe together. And number 1 tool is your signature book because a signature book really can open the doors to anything that you want. You want referral partners. You want your clients to bring you other clients. You give them a stack of your books to hand out. It does the perfect message and pitch all the time. So those are your prime positioning portfolio assets. Now, when I mentioned the book, uh, Gary Keller wrote this book, The One Thing, a number of years back. And if you're in real estate, you probably read it or familiar with it. And the principle of it is this: the principle behind the entire book is, what's the one thing I can do such that by doing it, everything else will be easier or unnecessary? And at the end of the day, becoming a published author, uh, this is what I really advocate most for. It helps you attract clients and it sets you apart. Because let's face it, today in any field, everyone's running around with a business card. That's the easiest, lowest hanging fruit. Everyone has a business card. So being the one with the book is the one that's really going to set you apart from everybody else and really create that authority and credibility, because people get to learn about you, get to hopefully know, like, and trust you through your writing. That also immerses them in your methodologies. So here's examples of some businesses built by a book. Dale Carnegie Training, Leadership, Communication, and Sales Training Company, built with, how many people have read this book? How to Win Friends and Influence People. That was like one of my first reads, and I even got the audiobook on CD. How about this one? Tony Robbins, Personal Development Coaching Seminars. How huge is Tony Robbins now with his island and doing all of his events? But he's known for unlimited power, personal power, and awaken the giant within. Those really defined his entire career. How about Dave Ramsey? Financial services. He built a TV and a radio show around it. And look at his personal brand. He's known for those two words from his first book, Financial Peace. And do we know who Dave Ramsey's enemy is? His enemy is debt. And why do we know that? Because he says it all the time. That's another thing I want to point out to folks. When it comes to your brand, look at yourself almost like you're a musical artist, and your books are like your albums and your greatest hits, and you're going to basically be singing from these albums for years to come. And that's why Dave Ramsey, it made me think of that example. He's always going to be saying debt's the enemy, we want financial peace. He's singing his hit tunes off of his books like for his entire career. So think about that. Here's another one. Jeffrey Leving. This is a law firm. I see these commercials here in Chicago all the time for dads' rights. He built his business around a book because dads that are facing divorce or having challenges with child custody, they have a ton of questions. And again, people seek answers, not advertising. So instead of advertising, I'm Jeffrey Leving, come call me for a consultation, super vague, he says, get a copy of my book, Father's Rights. And then here's the number to come to get it. Just cover the shipping and I'll send you the book for free. He's offering all the answers to people's questions rather than just an advertisement. So why is this a big secret? Why is direct response such a big secret? And why are books such a big secret? It's because salespeople would rather sell you space and not content. It's easier for them to sell you real estate in a magazine, to place an ad. Whether they think it's going to work for you or not, they don't care. Just give me your money, I'll give you a space. But if I actually had to do some work for you, not so many salespeople for that. Your signature book is something that you can create first. It's the number one business building and brand building tool, if you see some of the examples that I've shared with you. One of my favorite things is it fuels Google's 7-11-4 rule. And if you're not familiar with that rule, Google released a study a number of years back, and they said that their study showed buying behavior from people. And what did it take for somebody to go from a stranger to a client or a customer of yours? And they called it 7-11-4. What they meant by that is people take 7 hours to learn about you, to study you, an average of 7 hours before they even reach out to you. And that 7 hours is spread out among 11 touch points. It could be a series of articles they've read from you. It could be blog posts. Uh, it could be emails that you send out. It could be any type of content. It could be videos that they've discovered from you. 7 hours over 11 different touch points in at least an average of 4 different places. So that could be, maybe you saw me speak on stage somewhere. Then you attended a webinar I gave, or a presentation, or even a recording of a presentation I sent to you. Then maybe you got some emails from me. That's the third place. And then maybe you were on my YouTube channel. That's the fourth place. So it's 7 hours of 11 touch points in four different places. And the beauty is having a book. This could be 4 to 6 hours of immersion with you right there, just in at least one place, which is the print book. So this covers a lot of ground when people get a hold of a book. And another thing that's really interesting, author Marcus Sheridan pointed out, he found a study that shared that today buying behavior is so different than it was before. Back in the day, sometimes when somebody was interested in buying something, the first thing they would do is pick up the phone and call a company and start asking questions. It was like talking to a salesman was like the first thing that they did to learn all about a product or service. But today, everything's been flipped. Marcus Sheridan shared that 80% of buyers, by the time they actually call you, they've already decided. They've already made the decision to hire you because they've self-served all the information about the solution to their problems and all the different vendors. They did it without you even knowing that they were doing it. And then by the time they called you, they already made a decision to buy. So that's what really is alarming and shows you that you really need to be the provider of that information today if you want to be successful, because you want to be the person that's providing the information to AI now today, to Google, to anybody looking to solve their problem. You need to give them an anonymous way to get your information and learn about you on at their own comfort level and pace. I call it a shy yes. Get them the information, let them study about you, and then eventually they'll make that appointment. So here's your top 5 ethical yet unfair advantages as a published author. Advantage number 1, top dog status. Being an author is the biggest differentiator of expert status and authority, allowing you to leapfrog competitions because you literally wrote the book on your topic, leaving no doubt to anyone there. Advantage number 2, commanding higher fees. Of course, you're an author. People are going to automatically expect to pay more to work with you, and you can immediately raise your fees 25 to 50% or more. Advantage number 3, it boosts high demand from media. So if you like spreading your message and being invited onto podcasts or TV shows, your book becomes the magnet for speaking to high value groups. So book is an expectation for a lot of speakers. If you've been speaking for a while, I'm sure people have already asked you, where's your book, or what is your book? So it helps you become high demand for those media. Advantage number 4, helping you close more deals faster. You're instantly going to be the obvious choice by demonstration, because at the end of the day, a published book is a demonstration of your wisdom and the way that you do things. So now you're seen as more of like prescribing rather than pitching a service. You're prescribing a solution for somebody. And advantage number 5, my favorite part, ultimate scalability. Your book delivers the perfect message every single time. So once you've got that nailed, you can distribute the books and skip the cold calls. Your message is then received as expertise and not sales pitch, because the book is there really to as an advocate for the success of your reader. So quickly, here's how to author a high impact book in 60 to 90 days in your voice without using AI. And AI is a danger. There's a misconception out there that AI is going to help me write my book, and I don't need any, I could do it quickly with a few prompts that say, hey, write me a book about first-time home buyers or something like that. But it's not going to give you the right kind of book. It's not going to be a personal brand for you. They're not going to have, what it lacks is perspective. It's going to print you out a Wikipedia that people will immediately see that it was AI written. And what that's going to do is it's actually going to work against you and sabotage your personal brand. When somebody discovers that you've written a book using AI, can you imagine what that would do for your reputation? So you really have to be careful about that. The key number 1, magnetic book titles. You want clarity over cleverness. Here's an example from the 80s. Nora Hayden wrote a book called Astrological Love. It was a complete flop. Nobody bought this book. The publisher did some work, changed the headline, same exact book, but retitled it. Titled it now, How to Satisfy a Woman Every Time and Have Her Beg for More. Became a #1 New York Times bestselling book. Can you imagine why? It's again clarity over cleverness. The astrological love, nobody understood what that was about, but this title was clear. Now, again, it goes back to that DNA formula we talked about before. What's the distinction of novel appeal that you're going to create, and then that'll help inform what the title of your book might be about. And I've got some examples for you. Here's a client of mine, Adrienne Hines. She's a bankruptcy attorney. So her book appeal was all about helping people understand bankruptcy. She wanted to call her book Debt Relief with Dignity, which is very clear. It's a clear title. It's a little utilitarian and kind of plain, Debt Relief with Dignity. I wanted to help her create more of a fascination with her title. So I said, your book, we should call it Bankruptcy Magic. Look what that title did for her. The word magic, it's magical. It kind of takes the stigma out of the term bankruptcy, which everyone is going to see as this negative thing. So what's so magical about it? That title alone has gotten her so many invites to other podcasts to talk about what's so magical about bankruptcy. How do you make it magic? It creates a fascination. And what the result for her, she has grown to have one of the largest TikTok channels around the subject of bankruptcy, using the book Bankruptcy Magic as her offer on all of her shows. Everywhere she goes, she's offering her book. And that's how she's building her list and building her audience with Bankruptcy Magic. And you see, we still use Debt Relief with Dignity in the subtitle there, the life-changing power of debt relief with dignity. So that's an example of using that DNA. What are you about? What's appealing to the audience? They don't, they want dignity. They don't want the stigma of bankruptcy. So Bankruptcy Magic did that for her. If you want to test to see if a title can be a good title for you, I call it the Will It Intro Title Test. If you can say this introduction like you're being introduced from Colette onto the program, it says, next up is the best-selling author of Bankruptcy Magic. Please welcome Adrienne Hines. Will the title of your book, does it sound good as an introduction, and does it telegraph what this talk is going to be about or what you're going to be about when you come and talk? Then that makes it a good title. Another example for another test here is I always say, will it be a great podcast show title? So, for example, Bankruptcy Magic. Welcome to Bankruptcy Magic. I'm your host, Adrienne Hines. You see how that tests well? I've got a couple other clients that have passed those tests too. So, when it comes to title and subtitle, I prefer short 1 to 3 word branding titles like Bankruptcy Magic. And then I like to let the subtitle clearly express the value of reading that particular book. So, title and subtitle working together. There's other camps that say, hey, we should just talk about the outcome, and that should be the title of the book. Like, for example, Endless Customers. That's what everybody wants. Or More Clients Now. But in my opinion, those are too plain. They're not remarkable enough, and they won't give you a personal brand. I think you have to have some flair and some magic in your title and let the subtitle clarify it. But that's just my style. Here's a couple of examples for you. Bankruptcy Magic we saw, American Made Millions. This is for a business broker, and he gets that out. He specializes in only selling manufacturing businesses. When he came to me, he wanted to use, how to unlock the true value of your manufacturing business before selling. I said, hey, that's fine. Let's make that the subtitle, and we're going to give you American Made Millions. That's going to be a title you're known for. So Nick Fairs is now the best-selling author of American Made Millions. And check this out. It passes the podcast title test too. Hey, welcome to American Made Millions. I'm your host, Nick Fairs. There's that. So on the right, Fine Home Contracting. That happens to be the name of David Parati's company. And I always say, if you're going to write a book, does your company name actually make a good title? It may not. If their firm is called Burton, Ernie and Associates, maybe that's not going to make a good book title. But Fine Home Contracting worked great. Finding, fixing, and funding your dream home or investment property. See how that subtitle really clarified what the heck it's about. But the beauty of having your company name as a book title is when people start to Google you and look you up, not only are you going to pop up, but they're going to see that you're a published author, even if you didn't tell them that. They're going to see that because your Amazon author page will pop up. All those things will benefit you when you do that. Just another way. Key number 2, memorializing your magic. Brand yourself and your system. You saw my brand, Action Brand Marketing. So you saw the acronym that I created from the word action. And when I teach my formula in the book that you got, the digital copy of, you're going to see that I teach the direct response part using the acronym ACT NOW. And those are the 6 steps you're going to see me take you through when you learn direct response marketing. So when you create your own acronyms in your field, no matter, even if you have a certification that you think everybody has, like a very common certification, there's a way that you do it, I'm sure, that's different than everybody else in your field. And that's where you have the opportunity to own it, create it, claim it, give it a name. So key number 3, outline magic. Here's what you have to do. If you want to have a great book, done well in less than 90 days, don't overcomplicate it. You're trying to build know, like, and trust. You want people to be able to read your entire book and understand it in one flight home. So by the time they land, they're booking an appointment with you. So to do that, I like to recommend my favorite formula, which is a 3-part book. Because if you do a 3-part book, it's so easy for the brain to comprehend. So, for example, the 3 parts in a book can be a before, during, and after. So, if you teach something that has a before, during, and after, make those the 3 parts of the book. And then within each part, you could say, hey, here's the 3 things you do before something. Here's the 3 things you do during, and then the 3 things you do after. See that? That's how that works. If this was a fitness or exercise book or weight loss book, diet, exercise, and lifestyle can be those 3 parts. Product, process, and people, if you're writing a business book, could be the 3 parts that you talk about. But you see, you want to make it easy for the consumer, your reader, to comprehend your book. So 3 chapters per part. So for example, diet could be what to eat, when to eat, and recipes. Exercise part 2 could be strength, cardio, and the equipment you need. The lifestyle part of the book could be rest, work, and what to do when you travel. See that? So key number 4, write your book. Follow your outline. Always outline first. Some of the people that get hung up the most that we've worked with are people that want to change their outline all the time. And, at the end of the day, revisions and constantly changing and delaying, a lot of times that's just fear or insecurity kind of disguised as revisions. I always say you want to get your version 1.0 out there. And there's lots of cases of people that procrastinated and never got their books done ever just from that fear. So create a good outline to begin with and stick to that outline. That's going to help you there. And key number 5, professionally publish. Make sure that book has a brand and style that you want. Make sure that it's your color scheme you want, and the whole theme is carried out throughout the inside of your book too. You want the inside of the book to be professionally designed to match that style throughout. 7 quick evergreen tactics once you have your book in order to use it to grow your business. This is the game plan here. Number 1, put it in your signature line. So every time an email goes out, you've got, hey, mine says get Mark's books on Amazon. Whoa, without even telling them, they can click that link and they see me on Amazon. See that? You don't have to say a word, but that's the one thing that you do to give you that recognized advisor position, and use it everywhere. Email, signature line, LinkedIn, everywhere. Number 2, use it as a lead magnet on your website. So now your website is no longer just a business card on the web. It has an actual offer for your book, whether you're doing a free copy, digital copy, or they're just covering the shipping, or you're selling the book. You have an offer of a book. Number 3, getting media attention. Now you can send that book, as I mentioned, with a cover letter to all your local media and anywhere that you want to go to get invited to appear as a subject matter expert. Number 4, the ultimate referral tool. Books are kept. What kind of a monster throws away a book? When you give your books out, I recommend giving them to your current and past clients with a nice letter that says, hey, I've hit a milestone in my career. People have told me I should write a book. I finally listened to them and I did it. And I signed a copy for you. And I've also enclosed some extra copies that you can give to your family, friends, or colleagues who could use my help. You see what I did there? And please feel free if you ever need any more copies, just let me know and I'm happy to send you more. That's an easy way to get a real referral system going out. And then you do this with referral partners as well. And by the way, a nice, sneaky, fun way to do this is if you mention your referral partners in your book, they're more likely to want to get the word out because they're in a published book. So, number five, the Trojan horse way to get access to buying units otherwise off limits to you. You go to a lot of places, they think you're going to sell or pitch something, but if you're actually offering valuable information in the form of your book and you just want to get the word out there to promote your book, that'll help you do that. So a book's going to help you to work with organizations too. And yeah, as I mentioned, getting cooperation from referral partners, I got ahead of myself, but you mentioned them in a book. You could even do an interview chapter. That's a popular way to do it. Interview your referral partner in your book, and then they could even be a co-author if you want. Number seven, create perpetual monthly events around your book topic. You know how financial advisors do dinner seminars and they're going to buy you dinner to see their presentation? A lot of my financial advisor clients have turned their dinner seminars into evening with the author. So now they're going to be making it a book signing. They're going to sign books, answer questions, and the presentation is all around the topics of the book. So it's a great take with, and it's a great authority and credibility and celebrity building tool. So they're really well known for that. Uh, One big thing, your author page, as I mentioned before, because it's on Amazon's website, they have a lot of juice on Google. So you benefit from that. When people look you up, all of that pops up, your author page and linking to your book. So you can update your author information anytime you want. And that's a benefit of being an author. Amazon doesn't charge you for that benefit either. It's free and they keep your book live for as long as you want them to. So that's the benefit there on Google. One of my favorite things of publishing and using Amazon as my partner to publish is being able to order author copies. The beauty of this is no matter what you sell your book for, and by the way, the number one goal shouldn't be book sales. It should be getting your message out there. So that's why you see me promoting my book, giving it away liberally, because I want to help people with it. And as a byproduct, I'm building a community around my expertise and my knowledge. But no matter what you sell your book for, $12.99, $19.99, whatever it is, you can click order author copies, and you're only going to be charged the print cost from Amazon. And they're very reliable. It's just as reliable as buying stuff on Amazon. And you see, this is about a 135 page book there. And the print cost is only $2.63. So you see, it's very affordable to use this as a marketing tool. And it only takes, I say that if you order more than 50 copies, there's no minimums. You could order one at a time if you want, and you probably get it in a couple of days. But if you order like 50 or more, I always say allow 2.5 weeks to get them just to make sure. Like when I go speak and travel, I order 2.5 weeks ahead of time, and I have them shipped to the hotel that I'm going to that I'm going to be staying at. So that's a great benefit there. So the final thought I have for you there is, take the time to plan how you're going to get customers and what you want to be known for, because those customers are going to be the folks that help you build your brand. So as I mentioned, I've helped over 800 author brands get published since 2008, and we're the only author service that helps busy professionals, speakers, and thought leaders publish. And that really is the nucleus and establishes your brand moving forward. And it's one of the foundational tools I believe everybody should have. Um, so I also want to remind you, if you didn't get the QR code at Books Grow Business or getmarksbooks.com, the QR code is here so you can get copies of my book, digital versions of my book. And that is my time, Colette. Thank you so much for having me. I'd like to open it up if anybody has any questions or however you'd like to handle it.
No, great. Thank you, Mark. Leave that up so that people can get the book. There were a couple of questions, and thank you all for staying. We did have this open for an hour and a half to make sure that you guys could ask questions. I know that Lisa had to leave, but I did want to share her question. Her question was, what if you don't want to be a public face of your business?
Yeah, that's a great question because I do get that a lot.
Mhm.
Uh, as I mentioned, you can let your book do the heavy lifting for you. So it's not about you being in the spotlight, but it's really about you being the author of your concepts and your ideas as a thought leader. And I also advise businesses, if you don't want to be in the spotlight, perhaps somebody in leadership or someone else in your company can be the face. Because if you look at what the big brands do, you see, kind of institutional businesses like insurance that's not too sexy. They're going to create characters like Flo for Progressive Insurance or Geico, the Gecko for Geico. You're creating a character for that. But you'll see companies do that. If the founder doesn't want to be the face or the public figure of it, they'll find somebody in their business or company to be that hired person to be the face.
Okay. And then she had a follow-up question that I thought was really great. She was just sharing that she's had friends that, have done books, but their books don't sell. Your model is different in the sense that it's more as a magnet for creating conversation and having, creating the expertise, but not necessarily always selling. It could be giving the book away. Can you talk a little bit more about though the authors that don't sell? I've known people too that have books out there that they sit on Amazon. And so talk a little bit about that.
I'm glad she brought that up because that's a huge misconception about authoring books.
Mm,
I say it in a couple of different ways. I really feel like it's when I have people have said to me, I've done a book before, it didn't sell, it didn't do anything for me. My question to them is, what did you do to promote the book? And it's not really promoting the book, it's promoting your concepts and your ideas and essentially your offer. Like, did you go speak on the subject? Did you go do anything? It's almost like you've invested in a race car, but the car's not going to run the races by itself. You got to take it out of the garage. You got to take it around the track. It's really up to you as the author to drive it. So I'm demonstrating it right now too. I wrote, this is action brand marketing, but I'm not just going to sit and wait to see what happens on Amazon. I'm out here promoting it. I reached out to you at SBDC
mhm.
and you were great enough to allow me to share. And this is how I get the word out about my work. So that's really what you're doing. You're using it as that tool to get your word out about your work. And it's something that people can take with you. Another example I want to share with you, because I practice what I preach. My entire business has been built around my books. My core business is built around Books Grow Business. Now, this book, I sponsor a minimum of 12 events per year. So every month I'm somewhere. Like next week, I'll be traveling to Grand Rapids, Michigan. Last week, that whole debacle a couple of weeks ago, I was traveling to Las Vegas. And I was speaking at different conferences. I spoke at the U.S. Business Show in Las Vegas a couple of weeks ago, and I gave away copies of my book. Now, remember, my particular book, this is around 33,000 words. It's about 150 pages. My cost to me is only $2.80 for each copy that I give away. Now, I know my numbers, and every 40 books I give away, the number is always between 30 and 40 books, depending on the event. But every 40 books that I give away gives me one paying client that is worth thousands in my business. So, do you see why I don't care about the $7 royalty about the book? I want the client that's going to be worth thousands of dollars. So that's why I say, think about my expression is we don't write a book. You want to write a book that sells you, not a book that you have to sell. Did I explain that okay?
Excellent. Thank you. So, Mark, I love that. If you all heard that, Mark said he knows his numbers. If y'all don't know yours, let us help you. So, thank you, Mark. But I love that how you're showing really what you're getting in. It's a return on investment that you're making in giving the books away. So, there are a couple of other questions here. Veronica asked, what budget should we allocate for writing a book? Eh, Yes.
So yeah, it's a great question. I just did a video on this recently because I had people ask me that, like, what's the national average to producing a book? Because obviously, if you wrote it without help, that part's free. But if you really want a professionally published book and you want editors, proofreaders, you want designers, you want it formatted for not just print, but also for Kindle, there's a lot of moving parts. I could share that video with you, but in a nutshell, here's what it is. I looked up like the national average and it's gone up. It used to be that it's around an average of $1 per word in a book. And that includes everything spread out among all the vendors that are going to help you because there's people that help you write it, there's people help you proofread it, edit it, then there's designers, then there's formatters that are going to format the book interior, then there's the folks that that convert it to Kindle. Then there's the people that do the publishing. There's a lot of people involved, but the total man hours that everybody, besides just the author, but the man hours is about 300 to 400 hours for a book that's 30,000 words. I asked specifically 30,000 because that's about a 150 page book. And that's the best size book that I recommend today. I'm going to give you one quick example here that I always use as an illustration of what not to do. And it's this. Um, I ordered a book. I ordered a book from a guy with the full intention of learning Antinet Zettelkasten, which is some form of research and cataloging. And look at this book. This thing is around, I don't even, this thing is almost 600 pages. So there's a psychological principle behind this, and I looked it up because I had to know why. I never even opened page one. It's a psychological principle of completion. If you don't think you're going to complete a project, oftentimes you won't even start it. So what did this do for this guy? It just cost him a ton of money to print this thing and ship it to me. Um, and he didn't get a client out of it. You see? So never bloat a book for no good reason. You would rather give a 10,000-foot view so they get to know, like, and trust you and see that you're the go-to expert to help them solve their problem. And that's why 150 pages or less is what you want. So to answer your question, it's 300 to 400 man hours. So when you do the math and everything, it shakes out to between $1 to $2 a word. That could be really expensive. I've mastered a process that makes it accessible because if you look at the math of that, you're going to see publishers that are out there charging $30,000 uh, for a 30,000 word book. That's about the average price. We can cut that to less than half by doing a fixed process because writing books and the way that the publisher model is broken, the way that they do it is way overcomplicated. They do tons of revisions. Sometimes they coach you as the author, but they expect you to do the writing. And if you're a first time author, gosh, you didn't go into business to become an author. That's a whole different career. You just want to get your ideas printed. So the process I created was literally about doing it through a series of 30-minute interviews. All I need is 30 minutes to interview your expertise. When we outline it for you and we already know what your topics are in your book, let's say there's 9 topics. I only need you for 30 minutes, 9 different times. So it could be once a week for the first 9 weeks. And in the last 3 weeks, we'll get you designed, formatted, published, and submitted to Amazon. And you'll be live in less than 90 days. But that's because you're relying on our professional writing team to write your words. But the reason it's interview style, because we want to know how you say it. We don't put any words in your mouth. The stories are going to be yours, the way that you say it. And a lot of our clients, I love it because they have expressions and the way they say things. And that's how people get to know you. They get to know your personality because you want to write more like you speak. And the biggest compliment we always get is my mom told me that my book sounded more like you than if you wrote it yourself. And that's what you
Excellent.
get when you interview style professional.
Okay, excellent. And then I had one other question. A lot of the conversation today was kind of about businesses that provide services, not necessarily product sales. So, can you talk a little bit about those that are selling products, but a book could still be a right fit for them?
For products. Absolutely. When you talk about, we have a client that sells, uh, uh, what is it? PEMF, which is electronic therapy devices, medical devices. And what you want to do in your book is you're going to be talking about the virtues of the devices, the benefits of it, how it helps you, and perhaps educating. It's essentially any business that can benefit from educating their consumer on the benefit of their product or service is going to the book's going to help you. That's why you see people that sell heck garage doors or any products that you sell. They'll be giving away a DVD or a book um, because you're able to demonstrate the products throughout the book and get people to purchase the product. So if you have a product based business, that I haven't found a book. Think about it. Paint. If you sold something as ordinary as paint, You can have a book of design ideas, a book of techniques, a book of how to paint a house. I mean, think about what is it that you're solving for the people, and what is it that's appealing to them, and what is the conversation already going on in their mind, and can you answer it with a book? Because that would be the right book to attract that right prospect.
Excellent. Thank you. All right. I don't see any others. I see some of our clients saying, yes, we're going to work on our numbers here. So that's always really good. Um, and so if you guys would just hold for one more second, we have a couple of more. So grateful for Mark to come on. And I'm halfway, Mark, I was traveling and I'm halfway through your book. I had like a 3-hour flight, or so I read on part of the time I wasn't sleeping. I did read part, but I'm halfway through, so I am going to finish it. And
Good,
so
good.
I appreciate you, and I encourage you guys to read it. Really great information as well. And so you guys all saw the links. You can find Mark in these different areas. You can hear some of his consulting practice if you're looking at doing a book. And I think it's always great to work with somebody that can help simplify and get you faster to the finish line. That can be very, very valuable. And I encourage you guys to consider that as part of your planning. We also have a couple of other workshops coming up, the power of networking for entrepreneurs. So if you have a book and you're networking, this is something that you can talk about and share as well. But this workshop is by our advisor, Joseph Duncan. It's very popular and is because it's all about building community and learning kind of what you might want to talk about when you're networking to build community and not just sell, as Mark shared today. We also have a variety of workshops. There's several financial workshops here for you all. Balance sheets, self-employment. We also increasing your profits, profit and loss statements. So all of those, including self-employment, tax. That's a fairly new one. Business decisions is new. Compliance and bookkeeping, and then of course we have Grow with Google to assist you with that. So we definitely want you all to utilize that. Last thing, for those that are remaining, what's the first thing you're going to do to improve your business today? What action, because this is all about action brand marketing, what are you going to do today to improve your business, to grow your business? If you would put that into the chat. Let's hear from those that stayed. We appreciate those that have stayed. What's the one thing you're going to do? One thing I thought about for us is that DNA. And we're going to put that DNA together even for our center. So thank you, Mark, for that. If you have the one word, if you don't have the one word for your business, that might be one you might want to figure out. How do you do that today? Okay, I see some stuff coming in. You're going to write. Okay, start writing. Draft your outline. Okay. Um,
Oh, by the way, the I
okay.
offer a complimentary bookstore session, so even before you write, this could help you a lot too. What I offer for free is we'll hop on Zoom on a bookstore session. I'll learn a little bit about your work and your goals, and I could recommend a 90-day plan for you. There's no obligation whatsoever, and I can give you an exact quote for whatever it is that you're looking for if you could use help. But the bookstore session can get you on the right path on, and I'll even help you determine what the best outline for your book could be and the direction you should go.
All right. Great. And I see some folks here asking, sorry, I didn't have Mark's slide there. The links are here for his action brand marketing, and you can find his website fairly easily, and you can connect with him as well. A weekly MailChimp for your retail store. Wonderful. I like that idea. Open a YouTube channel. Okay. Read Mark's book, a yearly event for your customers. I love that idea. We have some of our partners that do a partner appreciation. Just starting out, going to read the book. I think that will help. And all right, and Briogeny has put the link into the chat. So thank you guys for sharing some of your thoughts. That's the start of your action. And so Mark has offered the complimentary book consultation before you get started. So read the book, do the work, make sure you have your outline, know who you are serving, and how you're going to make yourself distinguished. So I love that DNA, distinction of novel appeal. I love it. So thank you all so much for joining us today. We are at our hour and a half time. Everyone have a wonderful day. Mark, thank you so much for connecting with SBDC and PCR. We're so appreciative of some new ways to look at marketing for our clients, and so glad for those that joined us today. Everybody have a wonderful afternoon. And Mark, take care. And we thank you so much. And we'll have to bring you back for the Grow Your Business as well. So thank you so much for coming and joining us today.
Thank you for having me. It's been my pleasure.
Have a great day, everybody. Take care.
Take care. Bye for now.
Bye bye.